Welcome back to Self Love Sunday, my dear sister. Whether it's your first time or you're coming back, I am very grateful that you have made it here. And perhaps I'll have a little contribution into your healing journey, and that makes me incredibly happy. Let's talk about today's subject, which is us being afraid of losing someone. And in toxic dynamics, it's not really losing them, it is losing something that you believed that they are. It's losing the incredible, beautiful projection of your love, of your inner world, of who you are in your heart as a person. So what you're doing is projecting your incredible loving qualities onto that person. So you may believe that they are the person for you, despite all of the guilt, shame, abuse that they put you through. But this is not who they really are. You're just afraid of losing what you believe they are. So let's talk about that and dive into the episode. Please bear with me today as well because I'm having some stomach issues and it's been a bit of a rough morning. But as promised, I'm showing up for you and for myself. So, losing someone that we believe that the person is, the love of your life, the one, the person that you were supposed to build everything with, right? You had an incredible future promised by them. You had the family, the children, the joy, the you are going to be on a pedestal of my life kind of vibe coming from them. But the truth is, you were only being shown glimpses of that future. Most of the time, there wasn't a consistency of behavior. Probably most of the times, once the mask have dropped, you've been seeing consistent of cold behavior, of punishment, of cruelty, whether it's emotional or physical. So you weren't really seeing it on a regular basis, the beautiful, the lightness, the feeling of love, right? It wasn't consistent. What was more consistent is the diminishing behavior, the coldness, the emotional absence, right? And you may be trapped in that idea, but he was good sometimes. I see the potential. I see that he has that heart. He has that soul. But the truth is, it is really, even if it's the truth, even if that person is somewhere deep inside someone good, their conditioning and their behaviors have been rooted so deeply that unless they want to change something, you will not be able to affect them no matter how much you love them and project your good qualities onto them. You cannot love someone so hard that you heal them. It's the consistency from that person that needs to happen in order for things to change. So the relationship shouldn't look like you checking your phone constantly, replaying the conversations in your head, rereading the conversation, seeing how you could have addressed it better, justifying his behavior and always translating it onto something that is less harmful to you or less, less embarrassing as well. But like in the sense that maybe you were embarrassed to tell that behavior tell about that behavior to your friends or family, and then you soften it and make it less meaningful and less impactful towards you. Your relationship shouldn't be you having this urge of fixing the issue, fixing them, desperately trying to figure them out and find the truth. Like, how can I help them? How can I make them better? How can I bring that version of them? How can I bring that potential that they showed to me at the beginning? That should not be the case. That should not be your work. That's not where your energy should be. Yeah. You're not just afraid of losing him, you're afraid to lose that future that you imagined. And very often abusers are very good at painting that beautiful future because they already know what you want to hear. They'll learn bit by bit what are your core dreams, what are your core fears, and they tend to use it against you later down the line. Those beliefs that you have to stay in that relationship no matter what, that you have to try so hard, the belief that they are the love of your life, that they are the one, that you're supposed to endure any behavior from them because that's what love is. No one really prepares us for how deep this conditioning of that belief go, because you didn't just create it yourself. That's what we are being taught as women. So let's dismantle that myth. From a very young age, we are sold this idea that there's only one person for you, that love is intense, consuming, once in a lifetime opportunity, that when you find it, you hold on to it no matter what. So when it's hard, it means that it's real, that there isn't any perfect relationships, right? If it hurts, it means that it's deep. Yeah, that we often find ourselves that we are useful to that person as well, right? We are taught, like a lot of us women, we are taught to be useful to a man since a young age. So that usefulness is being tested, is being really required in this kind of dynamic. When you find yourself in something that feels powerful, addictive, very emotional, you often don't question it or actually override your own feelings in the process. You commit, especially that a lot of the times abusers make you feel responsible for their feelings. So you're like, oh, I'm now responsible. So like, I cannot just abandon them. I cannot just leave them. They just opened up their heart to me. They're showing their real behavior to me. So that means they trust me. Yeah. And when the fear starts taking the main role, this is where your entire system gets affected, your entire being. That's why it's becoming so powerful. It becomes like a compulsion. There's a great fear of losing them. There's a great fear of being alone, great fear of being too much for them, of being wrong, of hurting them, because you know how much things hurt, so you don't want them to hurt either. You think about them being affected. You fear being regretful of losing them, or starting over, or wasting years of your life with that person. Like, invested so much. It's hard to face that sometimes you invested a lot and it's not going to go further. That fear of facing the truth that you gave away your time, your energy, your heart to something that that wasn't what you thought it was, that is a huge fear. That is a huge grief to sit with. And it's scary. I know. But that fear, what it really is, that grief, what it really is not love being taken away from you. It is love being redirected back to you. It is a reflection of how much do you actually love yourself. And I'm not talking consciously, but there are some processes that we do subconsciously that prove that we don't value ourselves. So when we are faced with that, well, not necessarily opportunity, but when we are faced with grief, staying might feel easier because it's familiar. And leaving doesn't mean just a heartbreak, but it means potentially incredible pain, incredible grief for a period of time. And we don't know that how long that time is going to take. And it feels incredibly overwhelming, scary. There's so many feelings. There's so much chaos going on inside of you. That deep fear, that deep grief of the future that you imagined, grief of the version of him that you believed in, the grief of the version of you who tried to make it work, the role you were placed in, that's a lot to take. And on top of that, you are also made to feel like you are the only one who understands him. You are the only one who can save him, who can love him through that pain onto the healing. You saw his pain. You are the one who could love him through it. You're the one who can finally make it work. Perhaps if he told you about failed relationships in the past, how the women that were with him were so, like, he was so unlucky because they were treating him badly. They were gold diggers. They wanted him only for their own benefit. They were selfish. They cheated. Different stories that we hear from abusers. Yeah, it's always something outside of them that made their relationship not work. Leaving in this instance doesn't feel just like a loss. It feels like failure. It feels like abandonment. It feels like you didn't try hard enough, especially if you were taught to try hard to the point of self-exhaustion. So let's just validate how freaking difficult and overwhelming those feelings can be. And it's no wonder that you would be scared to leave, to grieve, to face yourself. The overwhelming amount of guilt and shame that accompanies these kind of relationships and then potential breakups. It is life-altering and it's life-changing, and you know that something is ending for good. And it is scary. Here's the truth, though, that changes everything about that. Love, and I say it from the bottom of my heart, as a person who have gone through all of that process of trauma bonds and grief and pain and not wanting to live onto the healthy relationship. Love, true love, is not something that you have to prove. Love is not a place where you prove your worth. Love is not something you prove by how much you endure. And someone's potential is not a good base for a relationship. If the connection only survives if you abandon yourself, that is not love. That is attachment, fear, and conditioning working together. So please, please release yourself from that guilt that you are abandoning true love, that you are abandoning someone that is the one and only opportunity, one and only, that will never happen again. I will tell you, may this never happen again. May that kind of love never find me again. Yeah. Let's shift that perspective, because this is not love. And I need you to really hear this now. This all didn't happen because you were weak or stupid or not good enough. Okay? No matter what no matter what belief they reinforced in you, because they would take that to an extreme if you had some confidence issues beforehand, or even maybe you appeared confident, but they would take that confidence apart. Yeah. That all didn't happen because you're weak or damaged, or they were better than you and they moved on. And let's say if they moved on even to a new relationship and you're feeling like, you see, they're in a new relationship, I'm the one in the wrong. No. It's people that don't deal with their traumas that quickly move on to the next relationship to keep on avoiding themselves. Yeah, let's make that clear. So bring it back. You're not weak. So let's bring it back together. So you were not weak. It happened because you were conditioned by culture, by stories, by past experiences, by the way you were growing up in your family. You never perhaps had an example of healthy love. You were taught to associate love with struggle, with self-sacrifice, and emotional intensity, giving yourself into someone quickly and without actually creating conditions by which they have to go by in order to enter your life. Yeah, no one gave you perhaps that example. You were never taught what safe, grounded, mutual love actually feels like. So, of course, you stayed, or stayed longer than expected. Of course, you questioned yourself rather than them. Of course, you override your own feelings. Of course, it felt like you were going to lose everything by leaving. Because in your system, it felt like survival. The moment everything begins to change is not when the fear or guilt or shame disappears, but it's when you start seeing that fear, guilt, shame is not the truth of who you are. The fear, guilt, shame is also conditioned into you. It's just a part of you that needs looking at, bringing light to, and healing. Okay? That's not who you are. Those feelings do not define you. Those feelings do not mean that you've done anything wrong. Yeah? Fear will tell you to stay small, to hold on to something no matter what, to go back, to choose what's familiar over what is healthy. But you do not have to obey it. It will feel counterintuitive to choose something different, and you will make mistakes, and you will perhaps it will take you a few attempts to choose what's healthier, but do it step by step, bit by bit. There is a version of your life already existing. I see it. Where love does not feel like anxiety, where you're not managing someone else's emotions, when you're not questioning your worth every single day, where you feel calm, safe, chosen, and fully yourself. Because healthy relationship will magnify who you are at your core. And it takes time, patience, mistakes, and radical self-forgiveness in the process. Plus, it will require for you to grieve. It's going to require of you to let go of the fantasy of the one person only idea of the version of love that was never actually meeting you. But on the other side of that grief, you don't lose love. You finally experience it. And I can say it because this was my journey. Exactly that. You did not lose the love of your life. You are letting go of a story that kept you stuck. And guess, in that process of healing, who is going to become the love of your life? You. In that process, you will start choosing life more and more. A life where your heart can finally breathe again. It's okay for that to take time. Remember, you have time. You have space. Don't listen to the external world. Don't look into negative information. Shut down the information that's overwhelming you. Shut down the noise and just refocus on you, to listen to your heart. To not listen to guilt, shame, and fear, but believe, despite of everything, that these feelings will slowly lose its grip on you. As long as you self-forgive, as long as you allow those feelings to come to the surface and be like an observer to them, say like, I'm feeling grief right now, I'm feeling guilt right now, I'm feeling shame right now, and it's okay that I feel that because it's just part of the healing process. They need to be coming to the surface so I can let go of them for good. And repeat that over and over again until you feel better, better, and better. And this is it for today. Thank you for listening. I hope this helps taking some of that burden off you. I hope this helps you understand a little bit what is happening inside of you right now, and that there truly is that version of you that is already free, happy, joyful, and in love with life and a healthy relationship, first and foremost with yourself. Take good care of your heart. It's been through a lot, and I hope to see you next week.